Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is time to rise and shred. And of course, it's the daily diary of the mortgage industry. I'm hanging out with the one, the only, the absolutely talented, the fantastic, the incredible, Mr. Incredible almost, Mr. Jacob Gaffney. What's up, Jacob? How are you this morning, sir?
I'm good. I got a question for you.
Oh, fire away.
How many cups of coffee have you had today?
I'm a zero. Most people don't know. I'm a 0 cup of coffee guy, but I know this is something that is very intriguing to most people. People think I'm a big coffee drinker. I don't love coffee. It's not my thing. It's not my jam, but I know you're a coffee drinker. So, because we were talking about something very interesting in Rise and Shred, and if you guys didn't catch it, it literally made me laugh. Like, that's what we're all about, is bringing some light, bringing some smiles to this industry. So, Jacob, talk about this study that was done when it comes to drinking coffee, because this is pretty interesting, because I know all of you listening, you probably are on your second or third cup of coffee already.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing, is that we were drinking coffee, as we do several times a day. I'm shocked to find that you don't drink coffee at all.
Not a coffee guy, yeah.
I think coffee is what fuels this industry, literally. I think I think without coffee, mortgages stop. That's just we're all just gonna, it's just gonna be all over. I definitely think that maybe this explains why you're not sometimes irritable, why you're completely stable, because you don't have the jitters of espressos. But researchers, time out. Did I ever tell you I used to be a medical researcher, reporter?
What? No, I had no idea.
So I spent a couple years for Wine Spectator when I was younger, and I wrote about medical studies. Right. As it relates to lifestyle, a lot to do with the Mediterranean diet, which is coming back big. You know, a lot to do about moderate consumption of alcohol, a lot to do about what carbohydrates are and all that. And, you know, I know my myocardial infraction from infarction. So, you know, all those things I used to for a decade, I spent studying medical journals. And now a study out of Australia has said that 6 cups of coffee per day is bad for you.
Dang it.
And you know what's worse?
What?
Cappuccinos.
Whew.
Cappuccinos, lattes, anything with heated milk is bad for you. So that's it. We're turning a new leaf.
Now, let me clarify, because people are probably like, there's no way that Josh said, like, what do you use to start the morning? I do drink Rockstars. But here's the thing, and I've talked about this on my show before, is because of my ADD, like, it actually does the opposite. I don't know why. Like, I'm one of those weird conundrums, but I drink caffeine to calm me down, to bring, like, it doesn't get me hyped up. I'm already like high on life. It like brings me down, Jacob. So I drink a Rockstar and I'm like, chill. This absolutely, like, no lie. I can drink a Rockstar before bed, like right before I go to bed, and it'll knock me out. I'm that weird guy. I don't know why, but anyway, moving on from that. I agree, turning over some new leaves in this industry, but I do agree with you too. I think it fuels this industry. So many of you right now are probably like, yep, I'm at least on my second or third cup of coffee. So with that, there's some interesting things going on. I want to talk about Glassdoor. Guys, if you didn't catch this article, some very interesting thing with some information about Glassdoor came out this week. We talked about it on Friday. So Jacob, talk a little bit about this separate ratings for women in POC a little bit.
Okay, so, you know, there was I guess about a year or two ago, where there was a real move and push to get diversity. And it's almost become, are companies promoting the fact that they're looking for diversity, or are they actually dedicated to a more diverse staff? I mean, that's been the question for the last year, right? Facing everybody, because everybody is out there marketing that they're like so diverse. But how many of them actually do it?
Right.
But hey. We're not pointing fingers. Okay, it is a challenge staff wise, right? I think we all recognize the benefit of having a diverse workforce, but can we actually get one? Right. It's hard to get anybody to work in mortgages these days. It always is a challenge, but to get people of diversity, women of color, that sort of thing, you're talking about shrinking down the talent pool even more. So it's a challenge. I get it. So in comes Glassdoor, right? Judging us, saying that we're going to now have separate rankings for people. And again, not pointing fingers, in the example that was used in Rise&Shred was Quicken Loans, which their actual rating has gone down since they added the diversity calendar. It's like 3.9. Last week it was up above 4. So now Glassdoor says they're going to hold you to your commitment to hire diversity. This is going to be a challenge because I've done hiring in this market before. You've done hiring and all that. And like it or not, Glassdoor often enters into the conversation.
Always.
Especially at the entry level position when people have no idea, what they're looking for. They're looking for a career. They want to enter into something. You're trying to sell them on the mortgage market. You want to sell them on the beautiful industry that gets people in homes, gets people property ownership, builds them up into equity, right? You're talking about that, and they go, yeah, but on Glassdoor it says your CEO is a beep, and you're like, what?
Oh, it's so true though.
People only go to Glassdoor half the time because they're not happy and they're disgruntled with their work. Most people who leave their jobs, there's something about it that just didn't, it happens. Move on, right?
Yep.
But they're rating the diversity. It's very, very interesting the way they're doing it. And I'm not saying that it's fair or not fair, but they are doing it and there's nothing we can do about it. So I think going back to the huge operation where Guaranteed Rate was attempting to get their employees to leave positive ratings, I still don't know what was wrong with that. I still don't see what's wrong with it. With Josh. Hey, Josh, come on, look. I want people to come and work for Shred. Come on, Shred City. Come on, hop on board. Come on, free cappuccino. Well, no free coffees, free monsters.
Rockstars.
We're rock stars. Sorry, is it Rockstars?
Rockstar. Yep.
Is Monster something else? Did I cross a line there?
No, Monster's good. Rockstar. It's funny. I've tried all the energy drinks. I've Red Bull, Rockstar, Bang, all this, but Rockstar's my jam. I don't know why. Rockstar's my thing. Anyway.
Okay, so let's rate all of those on Glassdoor right now.
I say let's go. Speaking of that, let's go to Glassdoor and rate them.
Back to what we were talking about. It's going to be a challenge in interviews when someone goes in. And what's more is that our whole industry has protections that are built in it in terms of fair lending, in terms of if you get a bad rating from someone and it has somehow been linked to this diversity issue, it could be a very difficult challenge for a company, especially when companies are actually promoting their Glassdoor ratings. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out in our industry, because our industry is traditionally, like a few other industries, is traditionally very lacking in the ability to get, retain, and engage a diverse staff. We're getting so much better. I mean, compared to other industries, I see this one as being a lot more active, a lot more in the face, a lot more progressive than people led on to believe. There's a lot of people who still think that it's just, run by a couple of guys at the top. It's not that way anymore. 10 years ago, you could make that argument, but now you see it a lot more, that entire companies are built on a foundation of diversity and lending as is intended. So it's just going to be interesting to see, again, when you have this third-party company judging our industry, allowing others to kind of throw their litter over the fence, as it were. Look, when I go back to writing in Wine Spectator, I will tell you, in the restaurant industry, whenever people were fired by these top white chefs, right, that were on television, whenever they were fired, those people would go, it's because I'm from the Philippines. It's because I'm from Asia. It's because, and it was like a low common denominator fastball. And there's very little these top chefs could do to defend themselves except to say, well, I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's just a very interesting development. I'm happy to see progress, but I wonder if this is the kind of progress that we need right now.
I was going to say, is this the progress we want or need right now? So that's a question.
We shall see. We shall see.
I just say we shall see. Moving on to some other things that I think is really interesting. We talked about mortgage originations boomed in this last quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking at some of these numbers, guys. If you didn't catch it in this morning's Rise and Shred, this is something we should be looking at, because obviously in 2020, many of us had a phenomenal year. It was a great year for originators, and some of these numbers that we shared, Jacob, let's kind of get into these, because these are some numbers that actually are pretty intriguing and pretty for us. Again, we're all hoping that 2021 continues to be a banner year, but what are your thoughts there?
Well, all signs are pointing to it being another good year. Like I said, originations are booming, but they are taking up a huge part of household debt. It's becoming the main kind of debt that everyone has. And at this point, jobs are just not growing to keep up. So that's the thing that you have to remember, Josh, with all these projections, is that they are projecting better times ahead if times get better.
Right.
Not where they are now. Things can't stay the way they are right now.
No.
The jobs have been flat. They've flattened out. There's so many jobs not coming back. The type of people that we want to buy homes won't be able to. Now the refi market. Okay. And by the way, I don't know if you've been watching treasury rates.
Yes, I have. Yep.
But mortgage rates are definitely going to be inching up.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have to keep that in mind. And so that's all part of the projection. Will rates stay low enough? All the economists say that they will stay low enough that people will still have incentives to buy and refinance. That was good. But we're talking about mortgage balances continue to rise as values continue to rise. There is talk of a potential bubble. We're not seeing it now because home construction just isn't very large.
Right.
And I mean, with the weather the way it's been, construction largely shut down. Mortgage operations across the state of Texas shut down. We covered it in Rise&Shred. People were asking, I'm based in Texas, as we talked about last week. Unbelievable response from the industry, showing patience, showing just allowing the companies to come back to work. It's been great. I'm so happy that this didn't happen at the end of the month. We could have seen a significant delay in production across the board. But now that we're coming back, the economy, the national economy, will it join us? Will it come back to work? Can the nation get back to work? These are all very important questions, and we're facing them with rising interest rates. It could be a challenging time ahead, but no one's projecting that.
It's true.
Everyone is projecting that we can have another brilliant year, that the equity rates could keep going up. People could keep borrowing against higher and higher housing values, and that it's going to be okay. And hey, if you get into trouble, the government will bail you out.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the common theme. We even talked about it with Fannie Mae. Says the economy is about to grow significantly. There's so many differing opinions, and this is where I want to kind of take this next part of our conversation. For all of you, ladies and gentlemen, involved with Clubhouse, Jacob, I was sharing this with you. This has become a almost taking our industry, taking anybody's social media. This is kind of the next, if you will, social platform. And this Clubhouse, when I first was introduced to it, shout out to our good friend Raquel Boris. She's the one who first, you have to get invited to this. But here's what's interesting. This last week, I've spent probably way more time than I should admit. I've spent hours upon hours on this app and watching how people are involved. But what got really interesting, Jacob, is I got tagged in these conversations. You can tag people. You can invite people to come to these, what they're called clubs or groups. And in two of the different discussions, people were actually discussing what you and I had shared a couple of weeks ago in Rise&Shred about the forbearance issues, about some of the things that are upcoming within our industry. And they were discussing them like they were absolute, like the most knowledgeable people in the world, and they weren't, which I'm like, So we have these people who are having these discussions about topics that we should be discussing, but they're not actually the experts. Is this a good thing? What are your thoughts when it comes to, is it good that they're having the discussions, or is it, hindering people? There were a couple hundred people in some of these groups, and they were sharing information kind of third party. What are your thoughts on something like this?
Look, social media is a blessing and a curse in this industry. You say there's a bunch of people pretending to be experts. Sounds like the same reason I left Facebook. Sounds like why I'm not on Twitter. Sounds like, with the exception of LinkedIn, there's very little to be gained by being on social media, but it is highly entertaining, and it's nice to be connected with people of like-mindedness. Where I have an issue with social media across the board is not with the platform itself, but with the owners. The owners, and Clubhouse is no different. Clubhouse is no different. Until you get someone who is an actual communications professional, the platform, it just sounds like it's just going to be more of the same. Now, you're huge on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm up there.
Yeah, you do thousands and thousands of people watch your videos on Instagram. I was blown away. I went there last week. I'm not on Instagram that much anymore. I have a profile, but I was pretty impressed that you were able to get penetration there. And now you're going to go again to Clubhouse. You're going to rock that as well, I guess. Is the plan, Josh? Is that where we're going with this?
I don't know if I'm. That's why I'm trying to. And if you're watching this right now, comment below #Clubhouse if you're in it. If you're not, I would be really interested because I'm starting to see a huge trend, especially within mortgage. The more and more conversations I'm seeing, more and more people hop onto these, and I'm seeing some relatively prominent people jump into these conversations. And it's why the platform is intriguing to me. You can't record it. It's live conversation. You can't see people. It's just pure discussion. And sometimes it's absolute chaos and anarchy. Like you'll get hundreds of people in these raising their hands and conversations going this way and that. But at the same time, it does give an interesting medium to actually if you get the right people involved, you can have some really good discussions. You can have some really good collaboration and conversation about things that are happening. I don't know. I've been telling everybody this. It's like the shiny object syndrome. And I tell everybody this all the time. It's the SOS. Don't go chasing the shiny object just because it's the newest and latest and greatest thing. Don't go crazy for it. I don't know if I'm going all in on it. It's just, here's why I even brought it up, Jacob. It caught my attention because of the conversations that were being had. And if we get people like yourself and some others, actual experts involved in the conversation, this could be potentially a very useful platform. That's where I'm going to kind of go with it. But other than that, I agree with you. It's just one more social platform where people push their own personal agendas. They bitch, they whine, they moan, they blah, 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 blah. So I know it'll be interesting. In my opinion, this is one of those that if you're looking to break outside the Facebook, because I agree with you, you and I have had that conversation, whatever your opinion is on social media platforms, they can be a hindrance, they can be a blessing, they can absolutely be a potentially powerful resource for you, but make sure you know how to utilize them. Don't just go and waste time on them. That'll be kind of my end on social media platforms. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. The fact I also bring them up to, Jacob, is, with what we're doing with Rise&Shred and some of the things that we're discussing, people are talking about it. We're catching people's attention. We do it in a fun and delightful way that, if you're even quoting the experts, I guess we're doing something good, Jacob. So we're on the right track. We'll say that.
Well, that's good. I mean, if you take a look at the social media platforms like Facebook and how it has evolved so much, but has not improved, and you take a look at Twitter and LinkedIn that have evolved actually very close to zero.
Yep.
And still haven't improved. I mean, Clubhouse is going to be something welcome. This is going to be, and the next social media platform that comes along is going to also be welcome. The point is, Josh, is we've not set on a good, proper communications platform at all. I mean, you and I were talking, we're getting our message out this way. Everyone else is trying to get their message out that way. There's no single place to go where all this can be aggregated appropriately. The trade media has attempted to do it here and there and have had success here and there. But, it's been a lack of transparency across the board about where we could go and where we could be. Who's going to solve the problem? I don't know. But when you have some kid coming out of working in his garage and he's suddenly connected millions of people together, he's not going to know how to censor that. He's not going to know how to moderate that. He's not going to know how to make topics appropriate for discussion. And it's just going to be like what you're experiencing with Clubhouse, a veritable free for all until it gets in and gets a little bit organized and a little bit, but it'll never actually get there yet. We have yet to see that. And that's the big threat to our industry, is that our communications, we love talking, we love connecting. We have no good place to connect.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. And you and I have talked about communication within this industry. There is no, I guess, perfect place, to say the least, to connect right now. Could Clubhouse be it? Potentially. Is the next wave of social media? Potentially. Who knows? But that's a really good point. And with that, I think we end it. We get your minds thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Start discussing that. That's what and stay tuned with more to come on that with Rise&Shred. And guys, if you don't already subscribe to the Daily Dose, the daily diary of the mortgage industry, you do not want to miss. We're the #1 in the industry. We're the only daily diary. You don't want to miss a single beat. Our team, Jacob and the entire team, does their absolute best to bring you the things you need to know about the industry. And plus, we put a little fun. We put a smile on your face every single day. And that's what we're all about here at Rise&Shred. Jacob Gaffney, ladies and gentlemen, always a huge shout out to you. We're appreciative. We're grateful for all your expertise and your knowledge. And again, the discussions that we have, like you said, we're finding the ways to do all we can to bring value, to bring the most up-to-date information right into your watching area, viewing area, wherever it's your phone, it's your computer, wherever it is. Subscribe right now to Rise&Shred. The link is below. We just dropped it. We appreciate your support. We want to continue to help you. If you guys have discussion topics, if you want something if you want to hear about something, let us know. Shoot us an email and we will try to get it. Jacob, you're the man. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Make sure you guys tune in next week for our weekly edition of Rise&Shred. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you again so much for joining us for today's show. If you like the content, make sure you hit that like button below. And if you already haven't subscribed to our channel, click right over here and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to see our latest video, click over here. And again, if you want to see the best of daily content within the mortgage and real estate industries, you have to subscribe now. We look forward to having you shred with us every single day.